Hello, Syndicate members. So I wanted to do a quick video to kind of thank you guys and also kind of recap 2018 and then talk about 2019 with you guys. For those of you who don't know who I am, there's a lot of you who have spent this last year, with me, sending music to me, all that stuff. For those of you who don't know who I am, let me just introduce myself real quick so that going into this next year, you know who this guy is. So my name is Trevor. I've been working in TV and film for over 10 years now. I met Jesse a long time ago, 8 to 10 years ago. So like when I started, I think it was around the time he started too. Um, and we got along really well, a lot of respect for each other. And we've always kind of kept in contact, even though we kind of weren't working together a lot, especially in the last few years. So So I've been working in TV and film for a while now, and I decided, well, I know basically everything, but I know most of this industry really well. Why don't I just start my own instead of working for other libraries all the time? So I did. At the beginning of 2018, I left the library that I was working for directly as like an employee and started my own. And this is what it looks like, and it's called Get It Done Records. So um, just a quick rundown, me and a business partner of mine who also was in TV and film for a long time, we started this all up. He is an actor who's in a lot of movies and TV shows all the time, and is constantly there at these movies and TV shows. And so we take our catalog directly to these people, and we're just kind of like, look, you hired him to be in your show and movie, you can also hire us to do your music and license some of your tracks. And that's been working really well. We've gotten a good amount of placements just through him being in a show and then pitching our own music to the show he's acting in. And that's kind of the first, that was kind of the first way we've been doing things, but also all of my connections, I've been going through some of the channels that I have, getting global distribution, which we'll talk about in the 2019 section, the going into 2019 section of this video. But yeah, so we started this catalog. We had a little bit of music, but we didn't have much. And then I contacted Jesse and asked him about the syndicate and how busy the syndicate is and all that kind of stuff. And is there room for, me to bring in the catalog to, get music from you guys to then, shop to all the clients that we have. And he, of course, me and him were just like, yeah, let's do it. So as you know, I came in, I think in about January, and we started with like a pop album, then a feel good hip hop album. We just kind of kept rolling through the albums over the year, over the months. And every month there was like at least one one album going on. And some months we had like two. I think there was even a month where we had like three albums going on at one time or something like that, or there was some overlap. But so me and the syndicate in a lot of ways, put together these albums, and now I am in the process of getting them to certain clients, whether it's, I have some YouTube, clients, I have some Netflix clients. We've gotten a few placements in Netflix and FX now. I have clients in other countries, which we'll talk about later as well. Just in general, we're building our clients list as well as building the catalog through, you guys and some of the other producers and composers that I know outside of the syndicate. But a quick little fun fact about the library, which I'll use this to kind of segue into talking about 2018 and what the year was like for us, you guys, and how we all work together. So the catalog over this last year ended up being about 700 tracks. So in the last year, we have created a catalog from 0 to 700 about. I have a lot coming in right now, so it's probably more. But at the very moment, it's like 700 and some change. So out of that 700, 619 of those tracks, 319 of those tracks are syndicate tracks, which is about half the catalog, which is really great. And it's without you guys, this catalog would have been much harder and it taken a lot longer to build. And I wanted to kind of give you a little bit of information about you guys and your relationship with GID and how kind of grateful I am about that, about having you guys along. So out of all of the GID albums, every single album has at least one syndicate member on them. Actually, there are probably at least more than one. I don't think there's an album that only has one syndicate member, but but either way, the entire catalog is just sprinkled with you guys. Some of these albums are 100% you guys, like the EDM Beds one I know is 100% you guys, the 80s, 90s pop, Funk is 100% you guys. Bass house is 100% Latin EDM, Latin hip hop. A lot of these albums are 100% you guys. And then all the ones that aren't are just tracks that I kind of grabbed and was throwing them in and making other albums as well. But yeah, so half of this music is your guys's, and so as I'm going to these different clients, whether it's my Netflix or my Netflix contacts, my FX contacts, my Comedy Central contacts, or, I mean, like we have a ton now of contacts, especially in the last like 2 months. Once I've kind of hit the 30 album mark, that mark kind of got us to where like bigger companies are now looking at us like, oh, okay, this is a real library, not just some people starting out. And so in the last like 2 months, we've gotten a lot of looks and ins with some pretty big clients. So I wanted to kind of explain that to you guys a little bit about how much you guys have contributed to this and how big of a chance, like if I'm pitching to a TV show or a full show or just one episode or whatever, how big of a chance it is that it will be one of you guys. It's almost a 50-50 chance at this point. And going into next year, I don't want any of that to change. I want to be getting a lot from you guys, because like I'm really, really happy with the results that I've gotten from you guys when it comes to the music and even with working with you guys. I've been working with composers and producers and singers and songwriters for years. And by far, working with the Syndicate has been the best experience in working with creatives. So I wanted to I wanted to really say that and kind of express to you guys how great it has been, and how valuable you guys have been to this catalog. So I wanted to give you guys a little bit of information too, just kind of a what the industry looks like, so you guys can kind of take what you want from it. Since I'm kind of on the inside and I see pitches and what gets like accepted and downloaded a lot and temped a lot and all that kind of stuff, I kind of figured I'd give you a little bit of a hint behind the curtain. So I wanted to go through some of our like highest performing albums, right? So by far our highest performing album is Feel Good Hip Hop. That album and the music on it has been downloaded a ton, has gotten us a couple of placements now. I mean, we got more placements this year than I thought we would. We've only been around for a year and we've gotten a few placements in TV and in radio and some web series and stuff like that. So by far, Feel Good Hip Hop is the winner of most used and downloaded and hyped album. So much so that I want to do another one sometime next year. And I'll tell you why. Because most catalogs have feel good albums that suck. They're really cheesy sounding. They're really kind of corny, And this feel good album was not that at all. It was really good hip hop with feel good elements blended in, and you guys knocked it out of the park. And it shows like in the data or whatever you want to call it, like the us getting placements with it, tons of clients downloading it and temping it, and which a lot of times leads to placements. They temp it in their episode, and then at the end of the day, the director's like, well, we'll just keep what's temped in there. So that album has for sure been used a lot. Our second most used would probably be Modern Hip Hop, which has a couple Syndicate people on it, and then also Latin Hip Hop. Our Latin Hip Hop album, because it's kind of a hybrid, there's tons of like South American programming. There's a lot of Mexican programming. There's a lot of other countries in South America. Like there's programming coming from them, like whether it's sports or dramas, like news, like Telemundo has like just been growing over the last few years, like as a network in general. It all of that stuff is just growing, and so Latin type stuff like Latin EDM and Latin hip hop have been really, really popular. Mainly Latin hip hop for sure, and so that's kind of our second most popular. And then after that, like funk was a big hit with a lot of our clients, because funk in general is just kind of useful. It's not super abrasive or over the top. It doesn't get in your face. You can just kind of tuck it underneath things in episodes. And so that was a highly downloaded album. And then also the throwback stuff. And this is why I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about these too. The 80s pop, the 80s hip hop, and the 90s pop albums were huge. As far as their, like how clients listened and were like, this is really great throwback music. There's a lot of crappy throwback music out there. There's a lot of people who think, oh, I'm using sounds that were from that era, so therefore I've made that era of genre, and that's not it at all. There's so much that goes to it when it's feel, when it's, even if it's you're using those types of sounds, do you still, like, is it still sounding full? Like, production quality didn't suck in the 80s, didn't suck in the 90s. It just was different. And if you can like mimic that and have high quality versions of that, like, you'll win with this stuff. And that's how I feel these albums are, and how they came out. I know a lot of catalogs will have an 80s pop album, and it's just kind of like, there's one good one on there. I love these albums, and so do the clients. And so I wanted to kind of express and let you guys know some of our a little bit behind the curtain of what has been doing well and what we want to like get more of in the future and stuff like that. So with that being said, I want to talk about that was all of like last year. So I want to talk about going into 2019 and kind of some of our plans, because we have some things are going to change, but we're also doing a lot of the same as well. So we're still going to be making albums for the catalog, just like we've been for this last year. And I still want to throw anything I can at you guys as far as getting albums from you guys. But in the last month, in 2 months, we've really picked up clients and possible clients that are really going to be looking for like custom work, whether it's advertising agencies, clients that just need theme songs, or even some, like one of the clients that we're pretty close to picking up like the whole show, where we do music from beginning to end, all of the show. And if that's the case, like, we'll need more music, and we're going to cater that music to the show, kind of like it was as if it was custom. So there's going to be a lot more direct, we need this because of this, whether it's a commercial or a custom commercial or a theme song or whatever. As well as some of the other, so we're building a catalog just in general, like how we have been over this last year and how you guys have known to see it happen. We were doing like once a month, I think, and we'll probably still do about that. But we're also going to have custom stuff coming down. And the third thing we're going to be doing, and I have to figure out how I'll work this in with you guys in the syndicate, but we're going to be working with artists, like indie artists, and then hopefully eventually major artists. We even had some semi-major artists interested in our production team after listening to the catalog. So I would not be surprised if by the end of next year we're working with major artists. But for now, we're working with indie artists and approaching it in the TV and film. We're still keeping it in the TV and film licensing world. So what we're doing is we're bringing in artists to do an album with us, as like an exclusive artist album produced by us and performed by them. They're doing their part. So down the road, there will be albums where we need this amount of instrumentals so that an artist can come in and do the songs. And this opens doors like crazy. Clients really love artist albums. And they pay more for them. There's more royalty, like all around. Having an artist album, I think, benefits everybody. Like having artist albums come out every once in a while benefits everybody in this, in the syndicate, in the catalog, everybody. So those are the kind of some of the things that going into 2019 we're going to be doing a lot more of, because we just got a bunch of, like I said, we got a bunch of clients in this year. We also got a bunch of foreign companies that are now distributing our catalog. We have a company that's distributing in Hong Kong, most of China, Singapore, the Philippines, Indonesia, like that whole area. And then also we have a really big company representing us in South Korea. And that deal like just happened, and they're really interested and love our music, and they want us to kind of be their premier catalog going into 2019 to get not just TV placements in South Korea, but they have a huge advertising client base. And that is where I think we will get a good amount of custom stuff that I'm going to be throwing at you guys. So next year is going to be really great, and really like there's going to be a lot. So I wanted to kind of prepare you guys, because this last year, while we did about an album a month, some months we did multiple, like the 90s and 80s stuff. I think we did in like all three of those in like a 2-month span, with some overlap, and as well as like New York hip hop. Like there was a lot of overlap of like multiple albums going on at once. And so this next year I think is going to be that busy and then some. So I wanted to kind of maybe get you excited and like kind of get you informed as to what, next year is going to look like, because, there's some pretty good chances I'm going to show up and you're going to see me requesting a ton of music like really soon. So I want to kind of prepare you, get you excited for next year. And finally, I wanted to really thank you guys. Like I said at the beginning of the video, you know, you guys, the syndicate is really a big part of Get It Done. Um, as far as like the music goes, and even like the sound of this whole catalog. I mean, you guys are basically half the catalog. And if you guys keep, I mean, like I've been approached by other people who have teams of producers, and I've kind of been like, yeah, I don't need you guys. I've got the syndicate, and I've been really happy with what you guys have done. And so going into 2019, I'm really excited. And like I said, I want to thank you guys for 2018. Without you guys, this catalog would not be what it is today. And and I thank you guys. You guys put in so much work. You know, a lot of these songs, a lot of these tracks, you know, where there was some back and forth, you know, fixing them, adjusting the layouts, doing this, doing that, so that that, you know, in my opinion, fit, you know, what I'm trying to do and how I'm trying to pitch the music to clients and stuff. And you guys were great about it. You guys did the work. You guys, you know, did ton of work. It was a lot of work just for me to like go through all of your guys' music, because there's so much of it, so many pitches, so many, like so much great music. A lot of times it was hard for me to just take what I had budgeted for, because like some of these albums were, I mean, there were a lot of them, like the albums were only 10 tracks and I ended up taking like 14 because I just couldn't pick my favorites and just stay at 10, you know. And so that is a good thing. And like I said, I really thank you guys for all of your hard work, all the great music that you're wanting to like learn and understand, so that this whole thing could just get better over time. And so I just wanted to express my gratitude, and ending the year off with just a giant thank you to the syndicate, and really excited for 2019. And I hope you guys have a great holiday.